Hello friends, it's Lisa and I'm back today with a video on the Daniel Smith Extra Fine Watercolors on some Crafter's Companion Colorista dark paper. Now I got this Colorista dark paper to go with some metallic markers that Crafter's Companion Spectrum Noir had. You can see those at the top of this grid, but I'm finishing most of the grid, and I'm showing you here how I did the whole grid with these Daniel Smith colors from their dot card, because I was like, well, maybe I need to get some paint, some watercolor paint to paint on this dark, and so I wanted to try it out first. So of course I got a dot card because that's a great way to try the colors. Now, to do each grid, I put one drop on, and then with a clean brush, grab some color, and then just swoosh it across. And it's really simple, and I made this whole matrix really fast. So these are all their different colors. If you want to pause it, you can look and, see them real close, but we can go ahead and move on. So I took one of the coloring sheets from a little I got 4 little black resist coloring books from Spectrum Noir, Colorista, Dark Line. Anyway, if you want to check out more about that, go back to my last video, or I think it's 2 videos ago, on my review of the metallic markers, and you can see a little bit more about those. But here I'm cleaning off my brush, and so that I'm able to go in with a clean brush and start watercoloring with these with the little dots, because it's one thing to see them on a chart, a swatch, and it's another to actually use them. I started off that video at regular speed, and I just wanted to show you how slow I actually go. When I speed it up this fast, it seems like, oh my gosh, she's going so fast, like this is so nice. And wouldn't it be nice to actually watercolor and do things this fast? But you can't, or at least I can't, and so I wanted to show you the speed I actually go, because I don't have the coordination to do this super fast and still get it in the lines. Now you can see some of these iridescent or duotones, when they're on white paper, they look different. Like I used that interference scarab red, and on white you can tell it looks red, and on black it looks green. So it's nice having the swatch out, which you can't see here, but I was looking at as I was painting this, to tell what color it's actually going to turn out, right? So I was able to use it on this paper as a green. Now what I'm doing here is I got a little out of the lines in a couple places, so I just put some water over it and then picked it up with my damp towel, which picks up most of the pigment. And I'm just going in and trying different colors, and I loved how shimmery and vibrant this looked. I go into 2 more techniques. I tried 2 more things, but I think when you're talking about watercoloring on this black paper, that these interference watercolors looked the best. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get any of these watercolors, or if I might try some of the other, like metallic or sparkly watercolors that are out on the market, because I wasn't blown away by the Daniel Smith Extra Fine watercolors that work on black. Like, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I have to have this right now. It's more like, oh, this was fun, Could there be a better product out there? Yes. But I did really enjoy watercoloring with these types of, um, with this type of medium on this paper. It was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that some more. I'm not sure with these or with some other watercolor, but it turned out really vibrant and fun. So you can see that here in just a second. It just looks like a beautiful underwater scene, and I kind of wish I'd left it in this full size, but I end up cutting it down to go on the front of a card, and I'm going to give it to my mom, who her and my dad are moving to the beach. They're supposed to move into their new house soon, and I made my dad a card, which you'll see in the next video. The next video, you'll be able to see the card I made him because his mom died. And so I wanted to make him a card for that, and then I was like, well, Mom needs a card, so I did this. So I made that card. Next, I was like, what else can I use on this black cardstock, right? Because I want to use all the different mediums that I have to figure out what I want to actually do on it. So other than acrylic paint, which I didn't really want to use, I don't really like watercoloring with it or anything like that, so I was like, what else do I have? And I was like, oh, well, these, what are they called? Distress oxide inks. They should show up, right? Because they're kind of pigment, you know. Well, they show up, but they're very white. Like, you get that oxidization, and all the colors look really close to being the same. Which I don't know. Now, sorry if the video looks a little funky. That's not your TV. It's just because I sped it up so fast. But since it didn't look really good, I didn't want to, waste your time watching it not look great. Next, I wanted to try the smooshing technique on this black paper. So I took some Distress Oxides as well as these Crafter's Companion Shimmers pens and the metallic markers I was talking about earlier. And with the metallic markers, even on glass, they dry really fast. So I would draw them down and then spray that little area. So, just so you could see that. And even with the water, they dry really fast. So you have to be really quick to grab up all the stuff. The smooshing technique is probably one of my favorite go-to techniques when it's on white paper. I don't know that on black paper it's going to be. Here I'm trying it with just the sparkle markers, the metallic markers. I wanted to see, maybe if I just do that. But really, when you put water with these metallic markers, it really breaks them apart. And I think what it does is it splits whatever's holding the pigment and the metallic element together. And so then really what you get is metallic with not a lot of color, if that makes sense. You don't get the beautiful colors, right? You just get the metallic-y element. So, which isn't as pretty as, the metallic element with the colors. So I am showing you how easy this mat is to clean up. It's a Tim Holtz Tonic Studios glass mat. And I've just been really impressed because that's been my issue. But if you see right here, I'm watercoloring on the white matte part of it. And this is not on the glass. It's on the non-stick mat. And it did stain that mat just a little bit, which kind of annoys me, but Tim did say if you used alcohol ink on that, then it might do that. So I think this just kind of did what that would do and just soaked in a little bit. And so you can't fully clean off those colors. You'll see when I go to wipe it off what I'm talking about. Now, as you can see, this is what I'm talking about. When you put it with water, it breaks apart the color and the metallic bond. And so as it dries, you just get metallic. See how you can barely see the purple part of the metallic as it dries on the top of the octopus's head. So just know that it does look a little bit purple, especially once you get all the other colors around it, but just not as it's not as purple as when you get it straight out of the marker. So my favorite way to use the markers is straight out because you just get that vibrant color. And I'm a vibrant person. So, but I do like the watercolor look, especially as like a background look. So I'm coloring in this guy, and this is my last, trial of different things that I have that'll actually show up on this black. I have some more techniques that I'm going to try in a video next week. It'll be out. I'm working on it now, but we're different mediums and stuff like that. But this was just, I wanted to try anything that I could watercolor onto this black paper because I really like the idea of this black paper. So I really liked the actual watercolors best. The interference and the dew tone, they just come out really pretty and vibrant. And the markers and distress oxides just don't come out quite as vibrant. And if that's what you're looking for, is a more toned down, see right here, I can't get all that marker off. Anyway, if you're looking for something a little more toned down, I think this watercoloring with these markers looks great. It does. It's just not as vibrant as I like. So for me, it's not something I'm going to do a whole lot. But here are some of these Desire by Crafter's Companion. Anyway, they're easel cards, so I have all of them. And you'll see these 3 in my upcoming video. But I wanted to use the one on the very top right there to create these cards because I was like, oh, I can, add that topper bit with all the like flourishes and it'll look like seaweed. I was like, that's brilliant. But, and oh, see, these are the cards that are coming out in my next video using those. And they're easel cards and they're really, really fun and easy to put together once you know how. So, anyway, I was like, oh, I'll put this flourish and it'll be the seaweed and it'll just make the whole card even better. Well, it would, but it covers up so much of the picture that it's like you can't really tell what the picture is then. So I ended up not actually putting those on. I cut them out and then I don't use them, and I was like, of course. So here we go. Here's the anchor one, and this is the one with the Daniel Smith watercolors. Now, when you're taping this down, you want to remember to tape it just on the edges, especially if you're using the Gemini, which is what I'm using, because it'll stick to that paper. You're not getting that tape off. Even though this is very low tap masking tape, and that's the best easy remove tape that I know of, it still it still has issues. So, when you look at the finished piece with the distress oxides, you can tell the different colors. It's just not as cool as I'd hoped. So I ended up using the parts I'd smushed as the bases. You'll see that here in a minute. But what I'm doing now is cutting, all the paper down to the right size because I needed it small. I didn't want to waste paper, so I'm cutting it all smaller. And I've cut it so I can fold it in half, and then see how I'm leaving the folded edge, a little bit of it, I'm not cutting, so that then it will stay folded. And I'm adding that die in the very center. It doesn't actually cut, it just embosses a crease. So, but it's hard because then and you have to put it with tape, and it's just a little difficult. On this die, it's not symmetrical, so you have to think about where you're putting, um, how you've cut out your top picture. Now, I think because I cut out that black part before it was fully dry, it shrunk after I cut it, so a little bit of the edges, are shown. Now what I'm doing with this little piece of paper is it's a smaller cut of this, and so I'm just putting it on the back just for stabilization purposes. And so here I'm just adding some tape, and so anyway, so I think the black shrunk a little bit from when I cut it, and you could see just around the edges. So I put a little bit of that blue, and I was like, oh, that'll look fine. See here, I've cut that thing out, and it just covers up the whole octopus. You can't see anything. So, and it did the same thing with the black here on the bottom. And don't ask me, it was weird. I have a fix for it though. So I was showing you there that I put glue on all the pieces except for that one little piece so that it would actually hook in. And if you're watching this and you're about to make this card with the easel card, then my suggestion would be to glue these a little more towards the center and not so far at the bottom. In the pictures, you'll see they don't stand as high. The easel isn't as straight up and down as I would like. So for this one especially, I'm going to have to add something again to the middle. But I just took some of those little pieces and colored them. Here I'm taking my 100 Copic black, and I'm just going around those edges, just so that you don't really see them. That was my fix, and it does fix it. So I'm not, it doesn't look, oh my gosh, why did she completely fail? It takes this and it's like, oh, okay, I can send this to somebody now, and not completely failing at card making, right? Because that's kind of how it felt. I was like, I did all that work, I made the cards, and now they look like crap because I couldn't die cut it right, So you can always fix things. Don't just throw it away. Think about if there's a way to fix it. So that's what I did on this one. And I should have thought of that before I put the blue down because I couldn't really color over that blue very well. But I just left it. I was like, it'll be fine. I'll just send it to somebody who won't notice. Because there's people who will notice and there's people who won't notice, and I'll just send this one to someone who won't notice. So see, the easel, having them so low, you want to push them back towards the center, the little holder part. So here we go. Here we are at the end, and so you can look through these last photos. Come over to my blog to see them again close up, and have a wonderful day. Oh, I have an awesome technique video coming up next week on the markers I used on this one. So go ahead and hit subscribe if you're interested in watching that. Thank you and have a beautiful day.